Hey, good evening, everybody. It's Wednesday night, and it's In Touch with the Miller Boys, your weekly talk show where we talk about and discuss all things impacting the African American community of the city of Fresno. As always, I'm joined by my brother, Mr. G.
Peace, two
Douglas,
fingers.
over there, and we have a guest there. I'm not sure if you see him yet or not. We're going to have a guest on tonight with us as we go forward. It was what we tried to get it arranged last week. Was unable to do it. So, but before we get to him, two things I want to go over real quick. One, please make sure you get your census information completed. Go to census2020.org. I'm sorry, .gov, not org. .gov to be able to complete your census so that you're counted in this year's census, so that we get all the money that we're afforded and supposed to get here in the Fresno area. Secondly, please make sure that you are registered to vote. So if you go to vote.org, type in your information, you can see if and where you are registered. And so I'm suggesting that everybody go to vote.org to check out and make sure that you are actually registered at the address where you think you are registered. Some people are registered in a particular place, and that's not actually where they're living. So please make sure you go and check that out, vote.org, as it go forward. Gerald, anything from you?
Yeah, COVID is real. Y'all, hey, I will tell y'all, COVID is real. 2 weeks ago, I wasn't here last week because I got sick. I've had COVID. COVID is real. I'm coming 14 days out of it, confirmed. They stuck that thing up my nose, almost cussed. I punched a lady at Kaiser. I'm telling the nurse at Kaiser, I'm sorry. But I don't stick nothing up my nose. I ain't no cocaine addict. I can never do that. No straws, no that Mucinex stuff, none of that. But COVID is real.
I see you feeling better, way better.
I feel a lot better. Not 100% good, but I'll try to put a hat on today and damn near burn up. But we'll talk about that at a later date and later show about the effects. But when you feel that you have the flu and it's coming on, brother, believe you me, it's coming on. And 5 days into this, when you get up and you try to walk and you take them 2 steps and something that feel like it's got your lungs, you got COVID. You cannot breathe, and it's we'll talk about it later, but that it is real.
Okay.
So for all y'all out there not wearing a mask and all that stuff.
What was the boy's name a couple weeks ago? It was
my man from Oklahoma. I don't know what his name was, but I thought that was very, very funny. That night, I came home and laid down in my bed and woke up to some aches and some pains and was like, y'all need to stay away from me. I know I got a flu. Now, hopefully this lasts 24 hours. No, this is going to be about 21 days.
Yeah, he gave you the internet.
Say that again?
He gave it to you through the internet.
No, he gonna maybe I gave it to him, but I'm gonna tell y'all, you don't want this. You people that have compromised immunities and things of that nature, this ain't something that you want to deal with. For real, this ain't no joke. I ain't seen my mom in 2 weeks, and she kind of over there mad and bitter, but she can't make it through this one. I'm sorry, but this one ain't gonna happen.
And that is a perfect segue into our esteemed guest tonight. For those of you who chimed in last week was a full celebration. We were honoring our dad's 80th birthday. He turned 80 years old on August 5th, and we were trying to get him in last week on Zoom and was unsuccessful in doing that. So tonight we have him on here. Kylan, can you unmute Poppy? You want to say hi before you get out the way? Kylan?
Say it again.
You want to say hi before you get out the way?
Hi, everybody.
That was way too simple. Anyway, folks, that's my youngest son who's there with his grandfather helping him join us by Zoom. So everybody, if you have not had an opportunity to meet our patriarch, There he is in the flesh with his black Santa Claus beard and his kufi on. Daddy, you want to say hello to the people?
Hello, Fresno. Yeah, I love to say hello to Fresno. I am glad to be on the show with the Miller Boyz. I know the Miller Boyz very, very well. I am proud of the Miller Boyz. We have something in common. I am their father, and they're doing a lot of work for us now. Through the 80 years, they've done a lot of work. I appreciate what they do for me.
We ain't been around here no 80 years. You've been here for 80 years. We only been around for the last 50.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Can y'all let my grandmother in? She would like to see her husband speak.
Let her in.
You know she's jealous back there. You know good well.
Okay, so anyway, Dad, we do got a show going on right now.
Okay.
Anyway,
For those who aren't informed, that's a good question, Kylan. We're gonna re-air this at 9 o'clock. No, she can't see it live right now. We're gonna re-air this at 9, so she can't see this live right now.
Okay. So, Daddy, tell us how it feels to be 80 years old.
Some people say you're not feeling different. But yeah, I felt different when I woke up on the 6th and I found out that my birthday, I knew my birthday had passed, but I felt different. Scared. Well, 80 years old, and I think my life has made a different change, and going in a different direction. Some people fold up their tent and get ready to die, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to look to the sky and look to the hills which cometh my help, and I'm going to live. I want to be around here when I'm 90.
Okay.
Some people say that's selfishness. The Bible promised you only a few years, 4 more years, 70 years. Time, and some people say that I'm living on other people's time. Well, I'm like Sister Horton in our church at Fresno Temple. She was 80 years old, and she said she sang a song that said, "I'll be ready when you call my name, but give me just a little more time."
Amen.
That's my prophecy, and that's where I want to be.
So let's go back. So you were born in Dumas, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Moved to California when you were 5, correct?
We moved to Oklahoma when I was when I was 5. We moved from Dumas to Tulsa, Oklahoma. I stayed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, and that's where my brother, right below me, Andy, was born. And then we moved to California on a tube train.
So what's your earliest memory, recollection about coming to California?
Coming to California?
Yeah.
I really don't remember that too much. I remember when I got to California, where we lived was over on D Street between Merced and Fresno Streets, and that was the Italian neighborhood. And the first thing I remember about Fresno was smelling wine and red peppers in the sun. The Italians do that sometimes. The community smell when I was in it was that red pepper and wine. They make their own wine. Every house has a place where they make some wine.
So that means you guys lived in the middle of the freeway then, huh? Where Highway 99 come through there now? Because that would be D Street, right?
Highway 99 was, I don't think, was there at the time. Yeah,
because there is no more D Street. That's gone.
All that was taken out. That was wiped out. 1944, 45.
So 5 o'clock. So what were your earliest recollections about school?
I went to Columbia Elementary School. It's not in the same spot where it was when I went to school. But I went to my mom worked as a maid after my dad passed away as an aide, and they went to Story School right now was named for the lady who had the nursery part of Columbia School. But I had to go to Columbia because the nurses were there, and all the kids, the 4 kids went to nursery school. We'd walk, didn't have a car. We'd walk from B Street was up a little bit, back down to where MILLER Boyz Market was the back part of Columbia School.
Miller Boys? You mean Boys Market?
Boyz Market, yeah. The middle, not Miller. Let me speak value. The Miller, no, Middle, MIDDLE. Middle of Columbia's school. That's what Boyz Market is. The old boys.
So back in those days, you guys went to Edison High School in 7th grade, correct?
Edison was a 7 through 12 school, yes.
So what was that? What was that like back in them days?
It was wonderful. It was wonderful. In some parts, it was wonderful. Yeah. It was 7 through 12 school, and we had the Edison Junior High School and the Edison Senior High School. And the campus was divided. Freshmen were not allowed in certain parts of if you were in 7th grade. You were not allowed in the main hall, the big hall of Ivy. I remember that deep in my memory. Edison High School had the prettiest campus of all the 3 schools. It wasn't but 3 public schools, and 1 Catholic school. There was 4 schools in the city of Fresno at that time, and they had the halls of Ivy, and they tore down the halls of Ivy because they wanted. I think it was because they wanted to bust us across town and break down some of the traditions that we had. But also the reason why some of it was because we had a earthquake, and Columbia School was rocked by the earthquake. So they said all the main buildings, everybody had a hall of Ivy. Edison, Roosevelt, they had halls of Ivy. And when Columbia fell, they said that the timing was right to knock down all those big buildings and put some other buildings in there. And when Edison was going to be the first one that they were going to knock down, because we wanted to destroy that because Keith Chung was on the school board, and Keith Chung was an advocate. He wanted to destroy Edison. He owned I guess what's the name of it? A Continental grocery store across town somewhere over there, and he wanted it down because they wanted to move all the black folks across town to go to Fresno High in the Roosevelt. And then they changed it around. They said, we're going to knock down all of them, and we're just going to build a big school, and we're going to have... No, it didn't happen that way. They came to Edison High School, and they tried to knock it down, the big ceremony. Tried to knock it down with a big ball. We're going to crush this 2-story building. And they put the ball up, and the ball wound up, sent the ball toward the building. The ball hit the building, and the wire that was holding it broke, but the building didn't fall. but it was supposed to be subjected to the force of the earth. If an earthquake hit it, it was supposed to tear it down. It was one broke. Didn't know that was a guy by the name of Mac Haynes. Everybody know Mac Haynes. He was.
Do you remember what year that was?
Huh?
You remember what year that was?
Yeah, I know. No, not that one. I don't remember the year that happened. But he danced and shouted out there. He was a graduate of Edison, and he fought to keep Edison High School open. But they still took down Edison High School building because the school board didn't want to be outdone. But they left Roosevelt and Fresno High.
Right, because Roosevelt is, in my opinion, Roosevelt is the prettiest campus in Fresno Unified.
Oh, you'd be biased anyway.
Exactly. Ain't nothing wrong with that. At least I'm honest.
Yeah,
the
okay.
East Hall, the West Hall of Roosevelt is
But they destroyed the black folks' history, tried to destroy the black folks' history, but they didn't do nothing but make it bigger and better.
But Edison at that time was a mixed of ethnicities. You had Italians and Japanese and Germans and Russians, and y'all had a whole bunch of folks in there.
They have something that's very unique in I forget what the utility room, the cafeteria, along the walls and the top part of the building. Every class that graduated from Edison is in that building, along the walls, all up above your head. You go in, you look, and you see all of it. 1935, 1936, 1937, 1940, 1950, 1960, 1970, 1980, 1990. Every year, every graduation class has their picture up there. And you can look at the makeup of the pictures. It'll give you a history about the Edison High School and its ethnicity. Who was going there and when they went there. There was a flow of people. Hey, are you still there?
Yeah, we here.
Okay. There was a flow. Well, at one time, Edison High School was predominantly the first part of Edison High School, white folks there. You look at big white folks, Chinese. And all of a sudden, the people of color started coming to Edison High School. And then it changed again. White folks started coming back to Edison. Come on around. And go back 50, about the 60s and 70s, change. There's another change. There's a whole bunch of people. And it just tells a story. You stand in the middle of the floor and you can find out from the pictures who was going to Edison, and what time they were going to Edison. What year they were going to Edison. In the 50s. I'm a 50. I graduated in 1959 from Edison High School. And it was a mixture. We had some of it. That's like with the teachers. The teachers did the same thing. The flow of the teachers to Edison High School. And right now, there's a flow, there's a mixture. Folks wanted to come to Edison because it's of Computech, Edison Computech.
Well, that was later. That was in the 80s. That's when that was established. The Computech component of it was established in the 80s. That was when me and
But they came because Edison was going to be an elite school, and they were going to make it. And you go by the campus now, and it is an elite school. I don't know, right? I'm not familiar with what's going on inside of it now, but I will be. I'm 80 years old, and I'm going to find out what's going on in it. I'm going to make it my point. I'm going to make it my business to see. I want to go up there. I graduated from there.
So tell us what you did after graduation.
Well,
the good stuff. Tell us the positive parts. Don't leave out the negative parts.
After graduation, you asked him?
After graduation from high school, I know that you went into the Army.
After graduation.
You went to Fresno City College, then you went to the Army.
I went to Fresno City College to play. That's what I went to Fresno City College to do, play football. Because my first classes were chosen to me by the football coach. And from what I took, my classes, I took bonehead. They wasn't putting me in the elite class. It took me 35 years to get out of City College. But the Lord came along, and I'll say this in jest, but I officially broke my collarbone and had to be sidelined, and that was the best deal. That was the best thing that happened to me because
Gerald, are you getting that? Hang on, Daddy. Gerald, are you hearing that feedback?
I don't hear any feedback.
Okay. Go ahead, Daddy.
Okay. I decided I was going. Coach told me in 2 weeks you're gonna come back because it's just a broken collarbone. Ain't nothing wrong with you. And I said, this man must be crazy. And I said to myself, let me get out of here. So I went down and took the figure 8 off my back and went into the Army and stayed in the Army and went to Alaska and stayed in Alaska 2 years, two and a half years, and came back to Fresno City College, went back to college on the GI Bill, played football again, football and baseball. Played football and baseball at City College, and went on, got a scholarship to Fresno State. Went to Fresno State. Well, there's something that happened between that. I got married to Bessie Hendrick. 19. I hope you're listening.
I'm hearing you, but we're getting some feedback. KP, can you mute our mics? Okay, there you go. Thank you. Go ahead, Daddy. You were telling us about getting married.
1964, March 21st, I got married and continued and we, to that marriage, we had 2 little bitty boys, 2 little bitty baby boys, and I'm proud to be the father of the baby boy, of the kids both. And we said, okay, let us not try to get this girl because we ain't having no luck. And we were trying our best to make it a college student because Bessie was going to college at that time at the University of.
There goes Mimi saying hi to you. Girl, we're picking up something off of your microphone.
But anyway, Bessie was going to school at Santa Cruz, California, University of California, Santa Cruz, and I was going to school.
Is that better?
Yeah.
And I picked up a job through the effort of a person by the name of Vernon Riggins. He told me, he said, when I was in high school, playing baseball, playing with the men, I was 16 years old because I couldn't play over in Babe Ruth League anymore. I went into playing with the older men at Fink White in the Twilight League. And Vernon Riggins told me, he said, I want you, Harry, you ought to go into recreation. He was on the recreation commission. He was part of that group. And he said, Harry, you ought to go to school and take up major in recreation. Major in recreation. And I said, okay, we'll do that. So that's the major. He sat down, Jim Aldridge, and then Jim Aldridge came into play, into the mix. Mr. Jim Aldridge. He laid out my program for 4 years. And when my counselor said, this is what you're supposed to take, I said, no, Put me in the classes that I can do. If I flunk out of school, I flunk out of school. That's what I did. And I,
You
the
didn't
Lord
do no
gave me,
flunking out. You graduated from Fresno City College, graduated from Fresno
we'll,
State.
we'll get around to that. We'll get around to that. But the powers, I will get around to that when I talk about the powers above me. The Lord was looking out on me and looking out for me. A big thing in my life was that my dad died when I was about 10, about 1951. My dad died and left a wife and 4 kids. And the wife made sure that I actually have 6 siblings with me. And she got married 10 years after my dad died. She got married again and had 2 children. But her thing was that she wanted every one of her children to graduate from college. And 5 of the 6 graduated from college. The only reason why the 6th one, that baby boy, that's Gregory Sears. So
Greg got his diploma.
Finally got his diploma, but he didn't get the diploma in the time that she wanted. You know how my mama was. She said, grandma will tell you get you. But she took the time. She made sure we went to school. I'm kind of rambling now, but I did graduate from college. Graduated from Fresno State in it took me a long time. I graduated from high school in 59, but I did a lot of things between 59 and 68. I graduated in the same class with my sister Judy, and we both were out there for college. I didn't walk with no cap and gown. She walked with a cap and gown. I didn't walk.
We heard about that also.
I'm not even going to talk about that. That movement I'll be talking about later on in some places. But yeah, I have a very, very, very active, and after I worked with the recreation department for 36 years, I was going to retire, and then I had a premonition. I had a movement. I was a member of Church of God in Christ, Fresno Temple Church of God in Christ, on the corner of Amador and F, a long time ago. And I think that's the best move that I made when I came out. And I was doing a little dirt.
Remember, we talk about the positive stuff.
Well, wait a minute. Now, it is positive. Listen, you have to listen for a while. I was doing some dirt, okay? And the Lord came in, and now I'm going to give you the thing. The Lord came into my life, and I gave my life back to the Lord. And the Lord said, you go back to your original church that where you were when you were a little kid. You grew up. Mom and Dad went to Fresno Temple and had been there since 1951. And my dad's name is on the cornerstone of the church. So I went back to where the Lord wanted me to be and went to work. And as some of the gratification for what I had done, the Lord made it possible for me to become the pastor of Fresno Temple. And I've been there at Fresno Temple preaching the gospel and trying to save people. And best of all, I'm trying to save myself. I'm doing that because I have some interest in it, in going out and doing what the Lord told me to do. And I have a congregation, a very active congregation. I have a very active congregation, and they love me. And we ain't gonna get into that, the things that they have done for me for my birthday. I tell you, it made me cry. I haven't cried in a long time, but it made me cry. We have prayed over here, and people going by my house, about 50 cars were going by the house, just hollering and screaming, then put me in the front yard, hollering and screaming and telling me happy birthday. But I'm an 80-year-old man trying my best to do the best. And I love Fresno. Don't get me wrong. I was on the group, the Model Cities Board. I was on the Model Cities Board when Model Cities first came in. But I've had some positive influences in my life. Mr. Riggins, Mr. Aldridge, Bishop Wilson, Bishop Rogers have all been active with me, doing some things that I'm doing now. And some people think I'm not doing nothing positive. It was an old man sitting over there doing nothing. But come on by sometime. Stick your head in the door. We'll talk. I'm not going to talk about recreation and how we set it up so people had jobs and things of that sort. Active. No, I wouldn't know active.
I see you done got happy, Daddy. You got to sit back because you're getting outside your camera. You're on the edge of your seat now.
Okay.
There you go. That's better.
See, I got a spirit inside. Now I can talk to my Church of God in Christ, or I know not necessarily. I can talk to my believers. We ain't gonna have no revival here today, but we're gonna talk about a little bit of the beliefs that I have in Jesus Christ. How it goes. Now I can talk about that all day long, and don't miss no beat. I am for all you out there that are of that denomination, that group with them holy rollers around on the floor. To you, I celebrate you because I am saved, sanctified, and filled with the precious Holy Ghost, and that with some fire. At 80 years old, some fire.
Amen. I can attest to that because you had your own little one-man revival at about 12:30 last Wednesday when you realized that it was your birthday. I don't know if you realized that or not when you had your one-man service in the other room.
But I was just giving the Lord a little thanks for me being 80 years old. And I wasn't hurting nobody. It was 2 o'clock in the morning. Who am I going to hurt?
You was keeping me. I happened to stay over there that night. You was keeping me up.
The Lord wanted me to keep you up. Because he wanted you to hear my testimony and bring it to the show today. See, people ask me, Harry Miller, you changed. I go, oh, yeah, got to change. Born again. Well, I remember you when you used to work at P&R Liquor Store. I remember you too. But that's not me. Donnie McClurkin said, a saint is just a sinner. A sinner that got up. I was laying down during that period of time. I got up. I got up and started praising the Lord. And you can't lose with the stuff I use. Oh,
okay.
I know where my power comes from. Huh?
You've been awfully quiet.
All right.
You want to? No, I'm not saying be quiet. I'm saying Gerald has been awfully quiet. Anything you want to ask or bring the light with Daddy?
Oh no, I'm just listening.
Okay, so Daddy, this question wouldn't have been relevant last week, and so this is my testimony that God works in mysterious ways. I want to hear your opinion about our new Democratic Vice President nominee, Kamala Harris. What are your thoughts on that?
Do you really want to know that?
I do.
Okay. God is in the making. God was in the making. God is doing some things for people. It's a positive move by the presidential candidate, and I think that she would be a wonderful person. She would pull some people's chain and make people start looking out. This thing that's going on now ain't nothing but a black flash from what Obama did for black folk and people of color. That's all. And the people who call you them nasty names in the closet, when Trump came in, they came out of the closet. And they didn't have to put the robes back on. They came out straight up. Now they're still kind of happy and kind of brave and saying things that they wouldn't have said. For a long period of time, we were enslaved. and we were everything that you wanted to call us. But Obama came and gave us freedom and gave us some liberty coming out the president's office. But these people, these politicians, right on, they sit up there and let them know Trump is a racist person. He's been talked. It's been documented that he's called us all kind of names. What else could he do? What else do he have to do? And these black folks that tell me about I am a Republican. Some of them are because their daddy was Republican back during slavery. When black folks were Republicans, hung on to that. But I don't see nothing. That Trump, I refuse to call him myself. I refuse to call him my president. He ain't my president. He's the president. Not mine. He's the. And if you want to send me back to somewhere, if you want to send me back to D Street, ain't no D Street here. He thought, go back to where you come from. I came from Arkansas. And I came from Dumas, Arkansas. Send me there. Don't tell me that. Don't send me to Africa. But I don't know what's going on there. I don't have any problem. I don't have any problem. Let me.
So what's your reaction?
Well, first and foremost, we are all one people. We are all one race of people, and that's the human race.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The construct of racism is a European construct to breed division amongst us. The Congress has sanctioned Donald Trump and passed a resolution saying he's a racist. So he's a racist. So all of the folks that are behind him and his racist ways are now they missed the boat. They missed the train. They've had 400 years to disrespect and treat black people that look like us in a negative manner. And now they have to conform or be left behind. I was elated yesterday when Kamala Harris was said to be the VP. She wasn't my first choice, but she came in and she handled herself the way that any of the first five African-American women would have handled themselves, with dignity, with class, and with factual point. And so now is, as everybody has been saying in my circles, it's game on. Because now we have a voice, an opposition voice, to tell Donald Trump that he's a liar, that he's a racist, and that his statements are untrue. So I applaud it. I applaud it. And I know that herself and Biden will be able to do the job and lead the country in a direction which is positive for everyone.
Here's one of the things, I'm elated also, but here's one of the facts that I think is going to be, is going to make her tenure in the presidency and the vice presidency different than Obama. Obama was not connected to the African American daily culture, whereas Senator Harris grew up in Oakland, single parent, grew up around African American people. She went to an HBCU, Howard University. She's an AKA. She's part of the Divine Nine, the Greek Life organizations. I know that she's a life member of BAWAPA, Black Women Organized for Political Action, here in California. So she has an underpinning, and people are saying, well, she can only bring him California. They have no idea the amount of pull she has being a sister of Alpha Kappa Alpha throughout the South, the East, and the Midwest because of her sorority sisters, which then bleeds out into the other 8 organizations, fraternity organizations, who is going to do everything in their power to ensure that Biden becomes president and she becomes the first vice president. And so I'm assuming that President Biden-elect next President Biden understood that. But that's something that is it's an undercurrent that a lot of other people are not picking up with. Media doesn't know that. They don't know how to use it. But my Facebook feeds and my emails have been going absolutely bonkers with my fraternity brothers and my other Divine Nine brothers and sisters over the last 2 days because she was selected. And so I agree also. I think that her going on this ticket is a very, very, very strong, makes him a very, very, very formidable and very strong candidate. And I think that they're going to do well in this political process.
Darren, being from West Fresno, I have a saying. Gerald hit it on the head. We've been under some pressure right now in our community. I look around, the number of people at my church. They're not doing anything. They're not doing much, and it's a light in a tunnel. We do have some hope about times changing. You can talk about religion, and you can talk about all that. The dark is a tunnel. In the tunnel. We're in a tunnel now, but there's hope. When Harris came, he chose Harris, and she came and she accepted, and she's going to. I know she's going to do it. I have hope that she helps turn around the situation that we find ourselves in. We're in a bad situation, folks. I guess you know it.
One of the other things that it intrigues me also is that Biden on the trail also made a commitment that he was going to have the first African American female on the Supreme Court, and everybody was talking about possibly Kamala Harris being the AG and those type of things. And I think that her being put in that position opens doors at the top echelon of our government. For African American females in particular, to have inroads into what's going on.
If Biden wins, it's going to be a new day in the United States, and Kamala Harris is going to pull many votes, many people who are of color, not only African American, but a lot of people who are having it tough. The African American is not the only person that's having it tough now, as you know, as you go about the day, and people, the lines on the employment lines. It's not just African Americans out there on that, and they're not just African American. See, Trump didn't have nothing but some followers, and he has done what he wanted to do. And it's time for him to go. That's all. He would walk out tomorrow if he had sense. He'd walk out tomorrow and resign and not be disgraced by what's going to happen to him.
He's going to take America to bankruptcy court like he's done everything else.
Yeah.
Here's the other aspect that goes along with Senator Harris that a lot of people are not really pushing to the forefront. Also, is that not only is she honored and treasured by the African American community, she's also honored and treasured by the Pacific Islander. Not Pacific Islander.
Yes.
It's not Pacific Islander. I'm thinking I got the wrong term.
Right.
From India.
Southern Indian.
Yeah.
Her mom is
Asian.
from India. And so I've got a couple Sikh friends that I'm interested in having conversations with about how their reaction is. One of them is a colleague of mine that serves on the school board. I want to get his reaction as to her being put in that position also, and how his community is embracing or relishing or pushing back on her being nominated for that position as well.
Well, my question is, and you brought it up. I don't want to leave that open-ended. Because my choice would have been that she had been placed on the Supreme Court. So now because Ginsburg is on her way out. And who would be a nominee to be placed on the Supreme Court?
Can I answer that question?
Oh, it's on the floor.
Michelle Obama.
No, no.
Why not? All you have to do to be on the Supreme Court is to have a law degree.
How about an acceptance?
She don't have to be accepted. All she's got to do is be appointed.
Okay.
Kavanaugh doesn't have any trial experience. He sat on a court, but he was never in front of a trial.
Michelle Obama does not want to sit on the Supreme Court.
I got you, but
Michelle
you didn't ask
Obama
me.
does not want to do anything in the political realm right now.
You asked me, and that's
So okay. So who's your number two? Because once
I don't know.
Who's your number two?
I don't know. I don't have a number two right now. I got to do some research on that. I think that Elizabeth Warren is going to be an outstanding Secretary of Finance. I believe Susan Rice would be an excellent going back into the Secretary of State role. Or I don't know, she wasn't the Secretary of State, but going in as a Secretary of State, dealing with the political realm.
I believe so. Also,
Abrams, if she doesn't wind up running for governor again in Georgia, I think she would be great on the cabinet. You've got Karen Bass, although I'm hoping that Karen Bass will run to replace Senator Harris as a California senator. So you've got Val Demings, who could probably be AG.
So my question though was, because I think it's very important that we put an activist judge on the Supreme Court, someone to counteract vocally with a grit the people who Donald Trump has placed in those positions. We don't need someone who will be soft and go along to get along. We need somebody to counteract those Kavanaugh weights, those Judge Thomas weights, those types of things.
Well, I think that Michelle Obama would be a great person in that role, although I know that's a stretch. And like I said, I don't know. I haven't done enough research to find out what that next echelon of African-American females who are working in federal courts now. But I don't think she would be soft. I don't think that she would go along to get along.
I don't think she's going to take that position.
Well, I agree. But that's the person that I know that fits the qualifications.
Brother Darren.
Yes, sir.
From an 80-year-old black man, let's first win the election. Let's first win the election before we start putting people in places. Let's get the people out. We have a responsibility. Wait, hold up. We owe ourselves. We are responsible for winning this election, doing anything that we can to get him off and him out of being the president.
Okay, so I'm volunteering myself like I do every year to come over to your church, even if it's by Zoom, to talk about the election and voting and all that other kind of stuff.
Right, and continue. We need to everybody generate some activity. Talk to somebody about voting and talk to them about voting against the president. Don't be scared. Don't be scared.
Also in California, tell them to vote not vote.
Not you, but this is to your listeners or the people who are seeing this. This thing is serious. See, I may not be around here very long, but it's serious.
You're gonna be here in November.
It's gonna be. I hope so. I pray that I do. But he has to be removed.
Okay.
And that's where we need to concentrate myself. I'm in a wheelchair. I'll take this wheelchair and tell 50, I don't know how many people to vote. And do you vote? Check yourself. Check yourself for what you don't speak until you put your name on the ballot and tell the public that you want him out of business. Then you're taking care of some business. And then I will be able to discuss who ought to go in these different positions. we want to talk about who should be the president of the United States. That's what we want everybody, black, white, green, vote against him. Vote for the candidate that's going to free us. Or attempt to free us.
I think you didn't told that you didn't share everybody. You just showed your hand and told everybody who you're gonna vote for.
I'm gonna vote for him. I ain't scared of him. What are you gonna take from me? I ain't got nothing. I ain't had nothing. What are you gonna take from me? He gonna come by. Well, he ain't gonna give. He ain't gave my church no money, and they holler talking about they're gonna take away my 501c3. I ain't think that's what I believe in. God. God's gonna take care of me. If they take it away, what happens if they take it away? Because a man expresses.
I think we got you fired up, but we're up against the clock now.
Don't be political. Jesus Christ was political. That's why I'm going to be political. I'm going to tell them who I'm going to vote for.
Okay, so we're up against it. So we appreciate, and I know that I appreciate you sharing your 80 years of existence, parts of your life with us. What leave us?
Let me say one thing. Let me say one thing, and I'll shut it off. I am proud. I am proud. I am proud. I am.
You gotta sit back again.
Miller Boyz. I am proud of the Miller Boyz. I am proud of the Miller Boyz.
Thank you. Do you have any last words for our audience at all?
Yes. Put Jesus Christ first in your life, and you will be doing better.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Now you see what Gerald, you folks who are watching the program, you're watching Darren, but you need to watch Gerald.
He on there. He on there. Gerald, any parting words before we get out of here?
COVID is real. You better wash your hands and wear your mask. If you ain't healthy this week, it's gonna kick yo. You need to come back next week and see what's going on. And love, peace, and hair grease. We're gonna make it. Vote
and when he gets old,
well,
he will not depart from it.
And do what you need to do to make yourself happy.
Love you, Gerald. Love you, Darren. Love you, Gerald. I love you, Darren. Both of you.
And I want everybody. We'll be back. We'll be back again. Trying with our experiment to be back on at 8. If we can't get back on at 8, we'll tape it, and it'll be on at 9 o'clock like tonight's version is. But I'm telling everybody, I'm changing my message. Everybody in California needs to vote in October. Election day is November 3rd, but don't wait till then. You're going to get your ballot mailed to you at home the week of October 5th. You need to vote in October. You need to vote in October.
I'm going to say this also. I'm going to say this also. All day long, since they said that Kamala Harris, Mrs. Harris is the vice president, Donald Trump then tried to blow up the U.S. Postal Service and the post office.
Yes.
If you don't take advantage of voting early, get your ballot. You already know who you're going to vote for. Fill it out and send it in early. Now, I didn't understand the reasons why before, but if you want your vote to count, vote, send it in early so that you can make that statement.
I'll talk more about the 3 ways in California that you can turn your ballot in on one of our next shows. Maybe we'll talk about it a little bit next week. But
Darren, let me say one thing. Any of you who are looking for a real Christian experience, come by Fresno Temple. Come by Fresno Temple when we can go face to face when this thing is over.
Y'all zooming right now, though.
I want to face to face. I want we hug and people over there, loving people over there, hugging them. But when we get back, I don't hug nobody now. But I mean, this thing is gonna be over. And when
we gotta go, folks. So
all right, we'll be here all day.
We love you, Gerald. Love you.
Yes, love. Always
Boyz.
love.
In Touch with the Miller Boyz will be back next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Until then, God bless you.
Peace. Love, peace, and hair grease.